Wow. Uh, I'm going to cover this because he does get into LAUSD, which I went to elementary for 3 years, well, K through third, and I went seventh and through half of eighth, and I also spent my 10th grade year up in LA. And I can tell you straight up, when you see this crowd that is supposedly demanding parental rights to not have lockdowns, not have safety measures, not have masks or whatever, not have social distancing, which by the way, we're all beyond that now. Like pretty much everybody's vaccinated. So why are they still fighting this battle? Like it's not there anymore. But I guess he's going to tell you why. Apparently, the right wingers are out there trying to create the perception that we're going to go into a lockdown again, but they've already um, put the money out there to create the vaccines, and smart people actually got them, right? I've had 4 jabs. But I also went to school in LAUSD, and looking at that crowd, it is way the fuck too white to be representative of parents of LAUSD. And I'll get into that in a minute.
Speaking of theater kids, here's Tim Pool's second in command, I guess. This was a hilarious video. I'm so glad that this myth-informed account, which used to be a Joe Rogan tracker that I used to follow all the time, has completely lost their minds and are now fully on board with Joe Rogan's narrative about like vaccines, lockdowns, whatever the Joe Rogan has to say. And they clipped this, thought it was sick. Trigger warning. They clipped this, thought this was a video that went hard. Let me read the caption for you. We will not wear your dirty masks on our faces. We will not comply with your bullshit lockdowns. Now, first of all, that sounds like a fetish. Okay, what's going on there? Is there like a fetish? Like someone is just like pissing and in a mask and then making you wear it? Like what the fuck is that? Like what do you mean, my dirty mask? Now you might think, Hassan, this video is from 2020, and you would be wrong. This video is recent. As a matter of fact, there's a resurgence in the right-wing circles. If you're not paying close attention, or if you don't have like a canary in the coal mine like I do to keep up with all of the latest mania in right-wing circuits, you're probably unfamiliar. The right is back on this mask shit. Apparently, they believe that lockdowns are coming again. They believe that the second lockdown is...
Yeah, but you know what? You can't just limit it to the QAnon right wingers, because first of all, there are a lot of Republicans who actually did get vaccinated and do not buy into this conspiracy theory bullshit. But you can't exclude the fact that there are actually people who consider themselves leftists who follow people like Jimmy Dore, thinking that he's a leftist even though he's not, and do the same bullshit. Because I know them in my own activist community, and it's quite scary to see people that I used to volunteer with, that I used to do work with, pulling this kind of bullshit. And they're out there just as New World Order scary shit. Like, I mean, these types of conspiracy theories have been around for decades. I remember working a job in high school and having my boss, who was a Seventh-day Adventist, give me a book about New World Order and tell me that I needed to read up on this because the end was coming. End times were coming.
That they believe that there's more New World Order shit happening. So that's what they're running with right now. Let's take a look.
That is the recipe to destroy your country, is to shut it down. Don't do that again. And don't make people put fucking dirty masks on.
Oh my god.
Nice. I'm sick of it, man. I'm fucking sick of it. I will not do it again.
It's a great jacket, though. That's a beautiful jacket he has on. But yeah, he's totally unhinged.
Like, somebody was watching this. These three guys from Milwaukee that oppose authoritarian ideology were watching this and went, that goes so hard, we have to clip this and post it. It's like, this guy is fucking crying so hard. So, couple things going on here. I don't even know what's happening with these lockdowns. Like, I guess, like, this is the new conservative commentary that like, the lockdowns are coming again or something. I think they basically just, like, ran out of shit. Like, they ran out of shit, so they're just running with it. I mean, there has been resurgences of new COVID strains that have kind of been ripping through a little bit. But ultimately, at this stage, I feel like there is no shot. There is no fucking shot that, like, Democrats are going to do lockdowns. You know what I mean? You kidding me? I believe the theory includes speculation of mail-in and absentee ballots to rig the election. Love that. So a lot of people forget that the FDA, once the vaccines came out, there was a big push to vaccinate the entire worker population, because the goal for all capital owners was to ensure that their cattle was properly vaccinated so they could work. They could keep churning out product. They could go and buy shit. That was the major reason. Now, of course, that aligned with the uniquely human condition of wanting to survive a otherwise deadly pandemic. You know what I mean? Like, it definitely coincided in that way, which really broke a lot of people's brains for some reason. Like, I always understood why, you know, people were pushing for the vaccination campaigns, the mass inoculation campaigns. It was obviously the goal for capital owners were to get back to work, make sure everybody gets back to work. But for some weird reason, these guys didn't understand that that was the point, or rather looked at that and thought, yeah, I'm not doing that like a child. I'm not doing that no matter what you tell me. But now that mass inoculation campaigns have occurred and people have gotten COVID and survived, a lot of people have long COVID and are still facing the consequences of that sort of thing. At this stage, unless there is like a incredibly damaging second wave that is like, you know, this new strain that is just wiping out people, okay, there will probably not be another lockdown, because at this point,
basically, what would have to happen is a strain that comes along that puts people on ventilators again. That fills up the hospitals and brings them to maximum capacity, where they're setting up tents in the parking lot again. It seems like people don't really remember exactly like how this went down, right? The hospitals were so overwhelmed that they had to set up tents in their parking lots to treat patients. And that takes away from resources for other major things, like people who are trying to get treated for cancer, or trying to deliver babies, or, you know, are in car accidents and need, you know, I'm just giving some examples, but basically, like, if it gets that severe again, I'm sure they'll give us another booster shot, which is not totally unreasonable, that they might start issuing them once a year, like the flu shot.
like, we tried it, we did it, we failed. People complained a lot about it. It actually hurt the bottom line of corporations, especially in the beginning. There's no way they're going back to that. But yeah, for those of you saying, like, this is not the new meta, I will not comply. Will you? No masks, no shots, no bugs, no groomers near our children, no mandates, no funding proxy war with billions of our tax dollars. That's just for starters, says Erin Elizabeth Health Nut News. Happening now in Los Angeles, California, parents have taken to the streets and are now headed to the LAUSD headquarters. Parents say they are done with Newsom and LA city officials undermining parental rights. This shit is like so insanely astroturf, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah, these are not LA residents.
This is like every issue. Listen to the detransitioners. Parents are the trusted adults. Leave our kids alone. No more lockdowns. Like, it's a smorgasbord of like different kinds of conservative mental illness and display. And the major reason why this is happening is because the main goal has always been school choice, eviscerating public schools, making it so that there is no public schooling in this country, and destroying teachers' unions and the like. It's good though, because this is a battle.
Yeah, and the thing is, the majority of white families in Los Angeles, I'm not even making this up, The majority of white families in Los Angeles are sending their kids to private school. I was, one of a small percentage of white people that attended public education, which it was great. I mean, it was perfectly wonderful public education. I was there at the height of funding, at the time that they had magnet schools. They had great performing arts programs. They had other magnet schools. They had science magnets. They had and then people like Delane Easton and Antonio Villaraigosa came in and started promoting charter schools, which funneled a lot of the funding away to private boards, basically.
That they have fought before, so they're comfortable fighting it. That's why they're doing it again. Anyway, let's take a look. She saw one video of someone complaining about getting COVID and got incredibly triggered.
I just watched a video from one of the people I follow, okay? And they're with their little C test, okay? Because they're not feeling good. They got the sniffles and they're weak and, they're just not feeling good. So we got the little test and they're telling people, oh my God, I wish I would have gotten the 15 more times. And if I would have done that, I wouldn't be feeling like shit. Guess what? I don't know what it's going to take for these people to understand we are done with this shit. We are done with this shit like
She's had it.
Steak, okay? We are not doing this with you people. We are not doing this. We will not lock down. We will not give up our rights. We will not close our
Star Medic. I love her being an EMT.
businesses. And we are not doing this shit with you people. No matter how many people that you pay money to, okay, to propagate this shit again.
Okay.
It's not happening. We are not going to go, we're not going to do that. Oh my God, take a burger. If you get a burger and some fries, maybe, well, if you do this, we'll give you some burgers and fries and a donut and some booze. And no, we're not doing it. We're not doing this again. Stop.
What is she even talking about? Like, literally, it's just a free shot to protect you from COVID. I mean, I know at least like 5 or 6 people that died from COVID. One of them pretty horribly. The oxygen, when they put him on the ventilator, the oxygen started escaping his lungs and they could see it coming through, like puffing up his skin. It's a pretty horrible way to go. To have your blood congeal. Sorry, I gotta wait for the truck. Okay, it's passed.
It's over.
She's popping off, dude. Queen. I don't know where this is happening, but like in a weird way, it almost feels like they kind of want to bring this back. You know what I mean? Because I don't know where the fuck is happening. Like I live in the heart of California. Okay, we're talking California Oblast. Obviously, our very own gruesome Governor Gavin Newsom runs this place with an iron fist. You know what I mean? And I haven't seen this shit. I don't even think there's momentum towards this shit. You know what I mean? The people that don't get mad at me, but I do think that the people that still
No, it's not that. This has been going like you're younger than me by quite a bit, right? This has been going on for decades. That the evangelicals are expecting the end of the world. And so they don't want to do anything to prevent the end of the world from happening because they believe that's going to be the rapture. And that will get them to heaven or something. But the reality is that if they truly believe in God, right? Then what they should be realizing is that their actions of spreading disease, killing people as a result of it, is going to put them on the path to hell. It's going to put them on the path to hell.
are are pushing lockdowns and masking on the liberal side are hyper health conscious people, oftentimes people with disabilities that are obviously less protected. I don't really, other than that, I don't think anybody out here is like genuinely going, let's do this lockdown thing again, which by the way, it didn't really even happen. So even when I recorded my cat doing something funny, I turned off the TV. Crazy that they don't do that for these. They can't stop the steady flow of this information coming from the TV. They might miss out on a moment of Fox and 5, you know what I mean? In New York State, some areas COVID is coming back very small. Local hospitals are requiring masks, and that's what it got started. I mean, that makes sense. If you're in a fucking hospital, especially when there's a COVID spike, yeah, I get why people would push that. It's a fucking hospital, dog. What do you mean? That's pretty much the only...
I know, like, seriously, why not just, like, always wear masks in hospitals? Especially if you're going, you don't know what you have, right? You don't know how transmissible it is. And do you really want to catch anything from anybody else that might be in there getting seen for something? Like, why is this a big deal? Doesn't that just seem like a good safety precaution? I mean, these people are so stupid.
Only place where I still currently wear a mask. Anyway, let's see this.
I'm just going to say this. I heard this morning on another podcast that this variant obviously is already sweeping the UK. They're considering having all their citizens in the UK mask up again. Guys, I am begging you. If you stood down in 2020, please stand up in 2023 when this hits our shores. Because if you think you lost freedom last time, it ain't going to be nothing compared to what they're going to do this time. And if we overwhelm these...
I don't think this is a matter of freedom. I think it's a safety protocol. And apparently you are, more concerned about people seeing your face than I am. I don't care about that bullshit. I would rather stay healthy and safe.
Idiots and let them know that we will not do this. And those of us that stood last time don't have to stand alone. Then we can beat this. We can actually beat them at their game this time.
Right.
So please don't be a coward this time. Don't mask your kids up. Don't go and not go to the grocery store without your mask on. Don't send your kids to school with...
You know what? Honestly, people who talk like this about their kids should have CPS check them out. For real. Because if you're unwilling to protect your children from deadly viruses, then you should not have children. What are you even thinking? If you can't even protect your own kids, goddamn, dude.
Masks on. Don't stop hugging each other. Don't stop going to church. And if your pastor shuts his doors, find a new church. If your pastor finds a way...
Dude, she's like...
This is AG1, foundational nutrition.
Find a new church if your pastor finds a way.
Dude, she's like fantasizing about lockdowns. Like, there's no difference that... I'm sorry, controversial take. Lockdowns were kind of cool for a lot of, agoraphobic people. They kind of loved it. And I think there is, like a very real part of some neets that want to go back to that because the rest of the world lived in the exact same way that they were living.
It's more than that. It's also... It proved that there are a lot of jobs that can be performed remotely. And that there's no reason that we're going into the office other than to be watched at all times. That there are positions within these companies, managerial positions, where they're literally just spying on their employees, and they just need to be able to see them. And quite frankly, before I left my last job, before I was laid off, my boss told me that straight up to my face over like a maestro call, that she needs to be able to watch me. That's disgusting. That is a disgusting way to handle professional associates. I get that, like, if you have like, a job that's like in retail or fast food or, something where you're actually have to have like personal face-to-face interactions that you need to be on site while it happens. But if you have a professional job where you're either in sales or proposal writing like I was, or some other sort of professional occupation, There is no reason that you need to be in the office. You don't need to have as many people as possible spreading germs in your office environment.
And I think these people are doing the exact same thing on the other side. They love the constant battle, like this oppressive authoritarian government was somehow coming after them. And it's also very low stakes because it wasn't real, right? So they love the engagement that they got out of it. They love the social cohesion that they got out of it. In a very weird way, this is the inverse of what NEETs fantasize about with the lockdowns of like, oh, it was kind of cozy, you know? There is a sense of unity and bond that they got from fighting this like monstrous oppressive government that was pushing for this incredibly authoritarian.
Oh yes, it was so horrible to work from home for the months leading up to when they laid me off, because they, first of all, the company told me we're in a great financial position. They always do this, by the way. In a great financial position, there will be no layoffs. And then they started identifying people to lay off, and they laid off 100 workers by July. So you can never trust your employer. You can never trust your employer. But no, it proved that the work can be done from home in many, many cases. And that's a healthier environment for everybody, because there's less bacteria and germs circulating the office. You're still getting your work done because you're measuring people by deadlines, right? Even if you can't do that in every occupation, if you can do it in thousands of jobs, then you should, because it's healthier for everybody.
Mandate, right? And they loved it, so they're trying to desperately bring that vibe back. You know what I mean? I feel like that is what they're doing. They just want to go back to that battle that they fought. And it's especially important because it's not a real battle, right? Like, obviously, if there were real stakes, notice how they're not doing it for January 6th. Notice how they're not doing it for, Trump's court proceedings. That's because that did become a real battle with real stakes. People got fucking arrested. People went to jail. Thousands of people got legal scrutiny due to their actions that were, of course, illegal. But this one is low stakes. Cops, maybe you fucking bully them, pester them a little bit, and then cops ultimately just like let you go. Low stakes battles that they're fighting that they greatly overemphasize is the worst thing that's ever happening to them is a very fun little engagement that they can, they're LARPing. They're bored, upper middle class suburbanites LARPing as though they are fighting against an oppressive authoritarian regime. And the reason why they're doing this role play rather than doing the other thing of acting out an insurrection or getting together and like legitimately trying to do a Charlottesville or acting out an insurrection at like the courthouse where they're detaining Donald Trump or whatever. The reason why they're not doing that is because they know when they do that, there is actual consequences. When they do this, there is none. It's the same principle behind like, I'm doing my part. I'm doing slacktivism by going and watching a movie in the movie theater and the AC is actually off because there's some massive conspiracy that is stopping me from watching a fucking movie. Ultimately, you're not doing activism. You're watching a movie, dumbass. But it feels good. There's a shared purpose. We're all fighting against, child sex traffickers by watching a movie. Wow, that's great. Sounds great. Conservatives love slacktivism. They love low-stake slacktivism.
To agree with the narrative, find a new church this time. Guys, we are living in the end, and they are trying so hard to tear down our country from within. And they're doing it, and they're going to continue doing it. And the only way for us to push it back is to stand up. There are far more of us than there are.
Not just conservatives, I'm lazy as fuck. I mean, there was, the other side of this was real activism that happened in the streets during the Black Lives Matter protest that sparked up during 2020. And when there is real activism, what happens? One, you don't get anything from the government. The government does not cave to any of your demands, no matter how reasonable they are. And two, you go to fucking jail. So the other side of this is also real activism against a brutal authoritarian police state and its unjustifiable, inhumane, cruel practices and its disproportionate targeting of black people, for example, in black neighborhoods. And a lot of people participated in that and nothing came of it. So now they're completely checked out. They're completely fucking checked out of that because they saw the way that Democrats also failed to make any concessions with the protesters and instead made compromises.
You are totally on a tangent right now, though. This woman is not a black woman. She is probably a white nationalist who's coming up with a bullshit evangelical argument that the end... we're at end times, Sasan. That's what she said. Oh, I'm sorry. The end times includes trying to protect yourself from getting disease. Wow, crazy town. Okay. That's what these people do not, they're not concerned about defunding the police or making sure that that our justice system is fair. They're not concerned about that. They're not concerned about that. And you're right. These are also the low risk version of their ilk. Because these are the people who are like, I don't want to get arrested for insurrection, but oh my God, I'm so on board with what they did, right?
To the police ahead of time, compromises that they couldn't even get passed, by the way. So, remember that when we talk about the low stakes slacktivism that these guys engage in.
But they are going to work exceptionally hard, and I guarantee you, if they start pushing this in our country, it will be far worse than it was last time. Far worse than it was last time. They want 15-minute cities.
This crazy
they want us to stop.
What the fuck? This makes me so mad. God, I hate this so much. Turning your crosshairs on fucking 15-minute cities. Like it doesn't happen. It's not around. It's not even a thing that people are actually pushing for. You saw a couple like armchair urbanist accounts on Twitter and you fucking lost your mind because some dumbass conspiracy theorist told you that is like the World Economic Forum New World Order. 15-minute cities, chat, is just walkable cities where everything is within 15-minute distance. That's it. Like the grocery store, the school, everything. It's actually something that these fucking hogs should love. They kind of live in their version of that in suburbanite America. Except obviously whenever they have to go and like get shit, they have to drive 45 minutes to the grocery store. So it literally would be something that they're on board with. It's just such a weird thing to be upset about. Why do they talk about it like it's a concentration camp? Because they have brain worms, man. Because they have substituted what they had as a brain for fucking worms. There's no other way to describe being this angry at a hypothetical concept that's not even gonna fucking happen and like use these kinds of idiotic fucking terms. I don't know. I just like, whenever I hear people get this mad at 15-minute cities, when they bring up 15-minute cities for no reason, I get extra sad. Like, I can't even get mad at it. I just get sad. I'm so upset with people that under every single circumstance would benefit from a good thing, getting duped by conspiracy theories, possibly also backed by the oil and gas and the car manufacturers, the oil and gas industry and the car manufacturers, because they stand to gain from never pushing for this, which is precisely...
Well, dude, I mean, did you watch, like, the Rudy Farias interview? Even he was, like, clearly manipulated by the internet in the time that he was being detained by his mother at his house, right? Allegedly, because we don't really know what happened in that situation. But dude was talking about having nanobots in his blood. I mean, come on.
The reason why it will never happen and it will only stay a theory, or, in fake countries like Spain, specifically in Barcelona, okay? These are not real things that you will ever experience as an American unless you go to fucking Disneyland or Disney World or a college campus or Vegas, right? You will never have this anywhere else in the continental United States, okay? They just don't get it. I don't know why they would be so nasty about this. Like, it is directly a good thing that they could benefit from. We are proud of being a country of parking lots. I hate it.
Us to stop communicating with each other. They want to censor us. They want to shut us down. We have to stand. We're already seeing it with what's going on in Hawaii, and if you think that was a natural disaster, you got another thing coming.
Don't they think that 15-minute cities are when you're only allowed out for 15 minutes? No. That's the worst part. They're not even wrong about 15-minute cities. Like, they know what 15-minute cities are, but at this point, brainworms are so powerful that they look at an objectively good thing and go, no, that's bad, actually. That's the sad part, guys. That is the sad part. The saddest part about it is they kind of know what it is. They understand what it is, and they look at something that you foresee as an objectively good thing that would improve your quality of life and your sense of community, and they hate it. They're like, no, fuck that, that's bad. I guess they're the more brain rotted ones also think that, like, you're not allowed at gunpoint to go anywhere beyond your 15-minute city or something, but
the 15-minute city, 20-minute city, the walkable city, many different names to refer to a growing trend in urban areas centered around the need for proximity, community, and good quality of life. In walkable cities, one can go from work to the gym, to the bar, to the shop in less than, you guessed it, 15 minutes, using a combination of public transportation and walking. 16 cities in the world have committed to implement this idea, and I'm currently in one of them, Paris. The mayor, Anne Hidalgo, has invested in making the city more bike-friendly. Parking spots are progressively turned into green areas, playgrounds, neighborhood meetup points, or bike parking spots.
there was some propaganda a while that said 15-minute cities ban cars, and you can only go to stuff in your segment. Yeah, you can only go to your stuff in your segment is bullshit, but banning cars, or at least making it hard to use a fucking car, is understandable because the alternative is what they are offering. Yes, you would not need a car. Here's an example. Most people that live in New York City, in Manhattan proper, do not have cars. Do you want to know why? Because there are alternatives. It's already difficult to drive a fucking car. So why would you have that? So people already live in that structure in the United States of America without even recognizing it. This is from Alice Capel. She has a lot of great videos, by the way. It's called The Anti-15-Minute City Backlash is Ridiculous.
Promoting walkable cities that swept across the US in the 1980s.
Okay, I guess.